Hi, Cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Semina. I hope you are great. So I am just here racking my brain over what has been going on and what is still going on, and then saw videos about why everything in United States of America comes down to racism. And on a very serious note, this is absolutely what is going on. Number one is that white people do not know hurt. It doesn't hurt them as much as it hurts people that look like me. So for that reason, they can always manage some certain things. Because why do you expect people that are at the top, like them, you and I know that they are at the top, right? They are not the minority. So how do you expect the majority to fight for minorities? How fight for minorities to like regain freedom when they are supposed to continue to be at the top and nobody should, other people should be at the bottom? So because something is not going to benefit you, or maybe because it's going to benefit you and benefit other people. So for that reason, you do not want it to happen to other people. It's really one of the most selfish thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Very selfish thing. But it is what it is. Racism is very expensive and some people really do not understand it. You know what? Let's get into this video.
I was having a conversation with one of my friends in Norway this week, and he mentioned something that he said makes no sense to him, being from a country like Norway, about a country like America, which is technically the richest country in the world. He said, why doesn't America offer social services like healthcare, education to the entire population? And I said to him, it's due to racism. Everything in America comes back to racism. Whether you are a slavery denier, racism denier, or you want to believe that America lives in this post-race world, everything comes down to racism. If America was a homogenous country like Scandinavian countries were, we would have all the above. Scandinavia has been ranked one of the best places to live in the world, one of the happiest populations in the world, but they're also some of the most homogenous places still today in Europe. So when you have a population that is built on identity and similar identity, and that identity is rooted in the country's nationalism, you want to give everyone in your country services. America is built off slavery. America wouldn't be what it is today without the work of my ancestors. When Black people gained independence, white people did so reluctantly. They weren't happy that slavery ended. Shit, we had a whole fucking war with the North, between the North and the South, due to slavery and them wanting to continue to keep us as slaves. So when you have half the nation that wanted to keep slavery because it was such a lucrative business for them, and now having to pay people to do those same jobs, you are not happy that the people who were once subjugated under you and you owned as property are now citizens of the same country as you. So you'll do anything possible within your power to subjugate them and to oppress them, which is what this country has always done to Black people. So when you see democratic socialist countries in Europe, like the UK, France, Germany, all the Scandinavian countries, Japan, a lot of places that give their citizenry, they provide healthcare, education, and basic services to those people, it's because those populations are homogenous. They did all their dirty work abroad. Colonization happened abroad, not at home. And America literally keeps its populations uneducated and poor due to racism. They do not want Black people to be educated. They don't want Black people to have healthcare. They don't want Black people to own homes. So things like desegregating schools, segregating hospitals, literally redlining us into creating the ghetto so we couldn't own homes. These things are documented laws in this country. And I don't think we'll ever be in a post-race world. And I think when you have the Republicans arguing over things like whether we should have health care or not, it's due to the history of slavery in this country and how we just don't give a fuck about everybody. And in America, everyone is not the same citizen. Black people are not treated the same as white people. Mexicans and Latinos are not treated the same as white people. Asians are not treated the same as white people, even though the aforementioned think they're white. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Good old America.
I can't imagine being so racist to the point where I don't want my country to have affordable things because I fear that that person's also going to get them. Like, no, I'm so racist that I have to be the only one that gets them, or for people that look like me.
White Americans, and I'm generalizing, I always know that there are some exceptions to the rule. But as a group, we have never collectively reckoned with the country's actual racial history. And when you don't face what really happened, you end up recycling the same patterns under new names and wondering why nothing changes. Well, we don't wonder about it that much, actually, do we? Most white people grew up inside a cultural bubble that protected them from the realities of racism, and it happened to me. They're not trying to be hateful. They were just insulated. The world we live in was created for white people. That bubble teaches them to see racism as a personal and individual attitude instead of a system with a long memory. When you think it's about good versus bad people, every honest conversation feels like an accusation instead of an invitation to learn. The result is that we have two realities living side by side. Black people live with the consequences of centuries of laws and policies, and white people mostly live with the stories that were told about those laws and policies. When you're not living the harm, it feels abstract. You may know about it. You may know you know about it. But when you're living inside it, it's just another Tuesday. That gap creates defensiveness and confusion that never seems to go away. See, racism keeps adapting. Slavery became convict leasing. Jim Crow became redlining. Those became law and order, suburban zoning, and election integrity. When the outfit changes, many white people think, oh, the problem's solved. This isn't a bad neighborhood anymore. Black people see the same damn thing wearing new makeup. Without a shared understanding of what happened, what is happening, or why it matters, and that it affects different people differently, we cannot build a shared path forward. I'm not an expert, just a learner. Join me. Use my name followed by .art to see more about me or help me do this work. Get curious.
I predict that the rate of narcissism is higher in the white community than any other racial or ethnic group. Okay, now wait, this is not racist. Okay, white people, listen. This is based on social structures and the way that narcissism is perpetuated through those social structures. So we know that the patriarchy, right, uplifts men, says that men are the center of the world. Men, you don't have to do anything but get a woman. Women are created to be the men's helpmate. So just through social conditioning, women are conditioned to have empathy. And there's some biological components there as well. We have to have children that has a higher propensity to have a caregivingness about us, but also society conditions us to be caregivers. So we have to develop empathy. We have to have that ego death of like, we are not the most important thing. We are not the center of the world. We have to self-sacrifice from a very young age, while men do not have to do that. So I think we could all probably come to the conclusion that men, if we put a pool of men and a pool of women, there are going to be a higher percentage or a higher rate of narcissism in men than there are in women. Like that's, fight your mama about it. Like that's full stop. There are going to be more male narcissists in this world than there are women narcissists in this world. But other social hierarchies are things like, religion. And we know that narcissists typically are the ones who start cults, and their cults are based on, some sort of religious, I am this chosen one, I am this deity, I am this important person, God has talked to me. And if you look across like all, pastors and priests, there's going to be a higher rate of narcissism in the population of pastors and priests or like religious leaders. I'm just telling you, y'all listen, than your average population. And so when I think about that, the social hierarchies, here, let me show you my social hierarchies. Such a good visual tool. I'm so proud of making this. So because the social hierarchies select for these people being like the best or like the highest ranking social members of society, patriarchy selects for men, capitalism selects for billionaires. So like in the class of all humans, there are going to be a higher rate of narcissists in the billionaire class, because again, these are narcissistic systems. You're going to have more narcissists as billionaires than any other class of people, because that is what these systems select for. Was this board members, shareholders, CEOs, like there are going to be more narcissists that are shareholders, the people which are all basically the billionaires and the trillionaires. Like you can be a shareholder obviously as a regular person, but the higher your shareholding, the more likely you are to be a narcissist. I promise you. Listen. So when I was thinking about races, when it comes to like white people being the highest social hierarchy of like social standing, I'm like, there are probably more white narcissists than there are of any other race, just because all other races have had to grapple with this, like this, I am like not the most important, or like I am like, there's this humiliation ritual that the rest of the races in the world have to go through that white people never have to go through. Like white people are the center of the universe as it pertains to like the viewpoint of the Western world. So like, again, I always go to media. Like whenever I was growing up, we were hard pressed as Black people to find a mainstream movie that centered a Black person. Like Akilah and the Bee, love that movie, but I recently found out that most white people have never heard of Keke Palmer from Akilah and the Bee, and it's because it was a movie about a Black girl who was smart and successful and just amazing. But like, or like, what was the one? Cookie, Taraji P. Henson, she was in Baby Boy, which is again a Black centered movie. So like just like all the movies where all the Black actors that are now like mainstream, they have been acting in the Black community for like decades, and white people never knew anything about it. But if you look at like I don't know, the kid from Home Alone, right? And when I just looked at Home Alone recently last year for Christmas, and it was just like, my son was literally like, where are all the Black people? There was one Black character, and I think he was a security guard, y'all. Like, when it comes to mainstream movies throughout history, it's the cast, Friends, right? Hit show Friends, like, it was in New York, I think, one of the most diverse populated cities in the entire world, probably, and there was not one Black friend. Or like, I don't know, it's just so many. Like, what is The Office? I feel like, I'm not sure, I think there's maybe one Black character in The Office, but again, it's just like when you're a white person and you're watching these shows, you don't really even notice that it's just like one Black person, because it's just like, oh, that's life. But when you're a Black person and you're watching these shows, you're just like, why is there only one Black person? Why is this Black person stupid? Why is this Black person dumb? Why is this Black person like the butt of all the jokes? Why does this Black person not have any depth? Why does this Black person have no character development? Why does this Black person has no like conflict resolution? Like, why is this Black person just like a thing that is there? But they don't have any personality for real. They're just like a prop that is there propping up the main white characters. Like, from a Black person standpoint, that's all we've ever seen. But you all, again, have never had to deal with that death, that ego death of like, oh my God, I'm not the center of the universe, because you guys are always the center of the universe. And so because of that, there is just going to be a higher rate of propensity of white people who are narcissistic. And I don't know if it's like genetic. I don't know, because I was listening to some history books recently, and the person who funded Christopher Columbus's trip, like one of the people, like there was this banker, and he wasn't a sailor or a navigator of seas at all by any means, but he liked like the idea of it. And Christopher, he helped fund it, and Christopher, went, and we know what he did, and he became this big famous explorer. But when Christopher died, the banker was like, he was upset that he didn't have as much like fame as Christopher, and so he started making up these stories that he was also this navigator and that he did all these things and he knew all this stuff, and he lied so much to the point where people, but he made maps, I think, like, I don't know if they were accurate or good or anything, I don't know, but like he did things to make people, to lie, to convince people that he was this person that he was not, which is what narcissists do. They always inflate their abilities, inflate their skills, make themselves seem like this big important thing. They have this sense of grandiosity, and people, to the point where like people, like they hired him to say, okay, like banker, like come help navigate this next exploration, and he did. And then obviously everyone on the ship found out like this man don't know what he doing, and the people who were on the ship who were like below him ended up having to do all the work. And I'm not sure if he got like any credit for those navigators. I haven't got that far in the book, but it's just like, I'm like, this is in, what is this, the 1400s? I'm hearing about these stories of people that I can very easily identify, like, oh, this was a narcissist, this was a narcissist. And it's just like, you know, I'm just like, I don't know. When I don't hear, and maybe I'm not looking, and so maybe this is, you know, a selection bias, but I don't hear stories like that about people of color in any sense of the word. I don't hear stories of like people of color who were these awful people who didn't know what they were doing, who, oh, you know, and it's like the people who eat, like the settlers of Jamestown, they didn't know how to farm, they didn't know how to cultivate land, and the only reason why they didn't die out is because they stole from the Native Americans, threatened the Native Americans to give them food, and then they got black people from Africa who actually knew how to farm and made them, obviously enslaved them and said, hey, plant me food, cultivate food, farm my land. Like, I just recently found like the South Carolina Gold, which is like a rice company. It's this big famous rice company, and it was the reason that it was Carolina Gold. Rice was gold for Carolina, but that's because the black people that they stole from like Western Africa, they came over and taught white people how to plant rice. It was not that they knew how to do it. Same thing with tobacco. Native Americans taught them how to plant tobacco. Same thing even with actually like Christopher Columbus. The guy that Christopher Columbus learned how to sail from was the Spanish guy, and the Spanish guy who learned how to sail from an African man. Like he learned how to sail from, like, the whole reason, this is sad, the whole reason that black people were enslaved was because an African man taught a Spanish man how to sail. Because before that they would sail down from like Europe over towards the West Africa, and they would all die. They couldn't navigate because their sails were square. Apparently, like the ones you think of when you think of like the Mayflower, you think of those big square sails, and the black people were like, you know, you should really do triangle sails so you can actually use it to navigate the wind versus just literally having the wind push you wherever you wanted to go. And so now we have triangular sails because of black people. I don't know. So anyways, where was I going with that? It's just like there has been in the past so much incompetence in the white community in the past and currently sometimes, and then they take the credit from other people, and that's like a narcissistic trait. So this is a long video. Let me know, do you think that there is a higher rate of narcissism in the white community than any other community, based on social hierarchies and the way that natural selection works when it comes to favorable traits? I don't know. Let me know.
This is all I got from this video. What people actually do not understand what it means to be hurt. They don't know hurt a lot. That's why majority of the things they do, they just do it because they think they can do it. And they are not considerate, because if they are considerate, there are so many things that shouldn't be happening today anymore. And I've been saying this, why I feel like I am not sure if what is going on will ever stop, especially when it comes to racism and all that. It's because they feel like it is not affecting them. It is none of their business. So why do they have to fight for it? Or moreover, if they fight it, because you and I know how much they love to be above somebody. So some people are minority in their own words, and some people are superior. So for that reason, how do you expect them to come out and fight what is right for everything? That's why majority of them are narcissists. Okay, this beautiful young lady was talking about why is it that that racism is really very horrible, because I am not going to have, let's assume my phone is bad and I am supposed to change my phone, right? But because if I change the phone, maybe somebody that lives with me might be using the phone, right, to watch something. If I am probably sleeping or something, they would not replace it. This must really be one of the most disgusting, one of the most disgusting thing anyone can ever talk about. Very disgusting. So because Black people and other people might enjoy the benefit. For that reason, let's not make it happen. It is well. I will draw my curtain here. Bye for now.